Hello everyone, Elaine here at Old Heritage Homestead. Lately, I've received a few inquiries about what do I look for at thrift and where do I find it. Well, first let me talk about the purpose of my thrifting, and then in the end of this video, I will share a challenge with you. So first, the purpose is to find things that are useful in my homestead, my prepsteading, or my camper. If it has no use, then I'm probably not going to buy it at thrift unless it's something really spectacular that I really want. So let's start with something simple for my homestead, like these hermetically sealed jars. I love these jars when I find them at thrift because they are so expensive in the store. I found these 3 containers for about $1.50 at a Salvation Army. And the rubber seals for the top of them are easily and inexpensively replaceable. So a hermetically sealed jar, I will explain quickly, just has that rubber seal on the top like I just mentioned, and then it has this latch to latch the lid down snugly. When that's closed and latched, you now have an airtight container that will keep your product safe and fresh for quite some time. For a more short-term use, I like to get these little jars with screw-on lids. I paid 25 cents for this at a Salvation Army. This is great when I open, for instance, a package of chocolate chips and I don't use them all right away, but I'll know I'll use the rest soon. So a little jar like this comes in very handy and it's easy to stack and store. Then we'll move on to what I look for in my camping gear and or my bug out gear. So I found these little mess kits for about $3 a piece. I found them at the Mega Mall in Lansing, Michigan, and that's more of a flea market. People have booths where they sell their items, and I was very fortunate to find 2 of these mess kits there. The third one I bought at a Salvation Army. Also at the Mega Mall, I found this percolator, a really great item to add to my camping gear, very lightweight and very sensible for camping or my bug out gear. This other item I found at a garage sale for about 50 cents. I didn't know exactly what it went to, but it has this little pour spout on it, which I thought was great if you were just making, say, a cup of coffee or heating up some soup or something like that. I really thought that was cool, and I'm going to add that to one of my bags. Speaking of bags, I really love to find a good, sturdy bag when I'm out thrifting or garage sailing. This bag is a Swiss Tech bag, and it's going to be part of my bug out gear, but you can use them for your medical gear or just to throw clothes in to go on an overnight. So we love to have these bags. I find several of them at thrift, and I always grab a good one. Then I love to find really reasonably priced oil lamps. I use these all the time in our down-grid situations. They not only produce light, but they give off heat. And that's a very wise thing to keep in my prepsteading and homesteading gear. So then I have these other items that we never did identify them on a previous video when I shared them. We were trying to figure out what they'd be for. Now, some people thought they might be burners for a camper. Could be true. So what I like about them is they have these little feet on the bottom, and they set really nicely on one of these little fuel tins. And it sets very nice and flush on it, and I can always add like one of these little mess kit pots, and I can warm something up very easily. So it's great for our camping and bug out gear. Then, every item doesn't have to be rustic or whatever. I found this for, I believe, $2 or $3, still in the wrapper, brand new, at Friends Ministry. And the thing about Friends Ministry is every Wednesday they do a half off. So I got this for half off, brand new in the package once again. And each one of these sections is a separate thermos. So those are very handy, and it fits in a tight place. It doesn't take up a lot of space. Then when I was at TSC after Christmas one year, I found some of these ammo cans for under $5 a piece. I believe they were like $3.50. And this particular one, I have it stocked with my medical supplies, which I carry in my car. And some of the medical supplies, like these pads here, I found for 25 cents a piece at Salvation Army, a whole mess of them. So I have a lot. And I'll talk about the stuff that's the contents that are in there at the end of the video when I share about some of the prepsteading ideas that I have gotten from another channel, Homestead Tessie's channel. And I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But it's so easy to find items that are useful. It doesn't have to be this stuff. It can be anything. In this case here, I found on half off day, it was a $3 stethoscope. I gave it a try, worked great. I'm going to add that to my medical bag. It's a very handy item to have in my medical bag, and I couldn't hardly pass up the deal for $1.50. So again, it doesn't have to be any of these items that you find for your homesteading and prepsteading, but it gives you some inspiration to things that you may want to look for and help you kind of put together something that's very useful, very handy, and very inexpensive for your homestead and your prepsteading. So I'm going to issue a two-part challenge. As I said before, this was a challenge that I saw on Homestead Tessie's page, and I followed it, and I really was able to build a really nice prepsteading ensemble for future use. And it came in really, really handy during COVID because a lot of items became almost inaccessible. So let me just explain her challenge. So she would do a challenge to spend $5 a week building your prepsteading supplies or your homesteading supplies. So once a week, I would take $5, and most of the time I would go to a merchandise outlet. If you have one, they're great, they're inexpensive, but you can do this at the dollar store as well. So I found this hygiene hand wash for 50 cents a bottle. Every time I go, I grab a bottle. These little heat cookers here, those things are usually about $1 each, or maybe sometimes you're lucky to find a better deal. Dollar store items like Band-Aids, I believe that's Dollar General, the Equate. And again, merchandise outlet, I found these little creams and lotions that I put into my prepsteading medical supplies. Then there are other items that I found great deals on too. Again, primarily merchandise outlet, but some of it was Walmart deals. They oftentimes have deals at certain times of the year on camping supplies and such. So I added some emergency ponchos, some mosquito netting. You can get any size matches, but I like the longer matches because we have a wood stove in our garage. I also like to pick up extra wicks for my oil lamps, and I've gotten them in a couple different sizes. So I've gotten thicker wicks, and I've gotten the thinner wicks for my oil lamps. Another thing to think about is long-term food items. You can get these at your dollar store. In this case, I got these at Pineview. It's an Amish store. You can grab a bag of rice. You can grab maybe some canning jar lids, which is a really important thing to have. We ran out of those during COVID, so I'm glad I had my supply. These only cost me $2.29. So if I were to take $5 and pick out, say, the ball lids, the yellow rice, and maybe those hand washes, and $1 heat supply, or maybe a pack of bandage, just spend $5 a week, or maybe $5 a month if that's all you can do. And challenge yourself to build your supplies. Just a little bit of money each week or each month will really, really build nicely a good Prepstead supply. Now, I have lots of these containers full of items. I got them inexpensively on Walmart.com, and I have a lot of them. So we are really prepared for a lot of things. So I'm going to issue the challenge and have you go out, and if you don't have $20 to spend on the bigger challenge, let's do the $5 challenge for those who have a little bit less of a budget to work with. I know we're coming up on Christmas and the holidays, so a lot of our money is going into preparing meals and to buying gifts. So let's hear the challenge and let's see what you can do. Let's start with making your own priority list. What are some things that you need in your homestead, in your prepsteading, or in your camping gear? After you've made your own list, you don't have to stick to it, but having a guideline for items that you need will help you be mindful of your choices and to avoid buying impulse items. Pretend this is your last $20, or if you do a $5 challenge, pretend it's your last $5. Shop thrift stores, flea markets, marketplaces, garage sales, clearance and discounted items in your stores or your dollar stores and merchandise outlets. Bonus, if you check free boxes, you might get something really cool that doesn't cost you anything. These items must serve an important purpose for your shelter, your food, water, heat, lighting, cooking, storage, anything that will sustain you in a downgrid situation. Post your own video and tag me in, making sure to share the cost of each item and how you got it, whether you bought it or you bartered for it. Enjoy the challenge, and we'll see you next time at Old Heritage Homestead.